Good day, everyone. I'm Monica Brain, Project Specialist for AMERIND Critical Infrastructure. We provide grant support and project management for tribes. I'm delighted today to bring you our webinar. AMERIND's Indian Housing Block Grant, or IHBG program, currently serves over 400 tribes, tribal housing authorities, and tribal designated housing entities in the United States. To be an eligible member or owner of the IHBG program, you have to be a federally recognized tribe and receive Native American Housing Assistance Self-Determination Act funding, or NAHASDA. To talk about some of the changes to our program, I'd like to introduce you to Shannon Lastiona. She's the underwriting manager at AMERIND and a member of the Zuni Pueblo. Welcome, Shannon.
Thank you, Monica. Thank you, everybody, for joining us today. Good day to everybody. First of all, I want to thank everybody for taking time out of your very busy day to join us, receive some information on the IHBG program, and hopefully gain some knowledge based on what the information we are ready to share with you today. As Monica mentioned, my name is Shannon Lastiona. I am the underwriting manager here with AMERIND Risk. I've been with the company 21 years with AMERIND. Previously to underwriting, I was part of the claims team, and now here we are today, 2024, ready to present to you IHBG information. I just wanted to go over some details of what you should be looking forward to receiving as part of this hour. First of all, there have been various changes within our underwriting team, and so I'd like to introduce you to our newest members that have recently joined. Second thing is we're going to be talking about coinsurance, and what does that mean? We are approaching your 2025 renewal quote season. We have Mr. Jordan Naranjo, who is going to be providing you with tips and hints of what to look out for on your quote, schedule of property, and how important it is to review the details that are on your schedule. Additions, deletions, and updates. We have a new online form of where you can complete this information for us. And last but not least, our renewal timeline. So once again, we just want to thank you for taking some time. And with that, I'd like to get you introduced to our team here that will be helping you out through this process. First of all, we have Mr. Jordan Naranjo. You're on mute. Jordan, you're on mute, please.
Good morning, everybody. My name is Jordan Naranjo. I am from Santa Clara Pueblo. I've been working with AMERIND for about 2.5 years now. My previous work experience comes from casino. I was employed for about 7 years within a casino in tribal gaming with 3 years in management. I look forward to working with all of you. So thank you.
Thank you, Jordan. Next up, we have Troy Romero.
Good morning and good afternoon, everyone. My name is Troy Romero. I am from the Pueblo of Acoma, and I've been working with AMERIND coming up on 2 years now. My previous work experience has been in the accounting and finance field. I did that for about 6 years, and I made the transition to AMERIND towards the end of 2022. And it's really been a real eye-opener for me in this business. And every day is something new to learn and new challenges to face, but take them head on, both individually and as a team. And I'm really just excited to get this renewal process going and excited to work with all of you.
Thank you, gentlemen. These two will be your main contacts for your IHBG quoting process. If you have any questions, concerns, or just any general information that you would like to ask, these two are going to be your go-to gentlemen for this process. I also want to add that if you have any questions throughout the webinar as we are going through some of this information, feel free to ask your questions in the chat. We are going to be monitoring the chat, so as we end the webinar, we will be sure to address the questions that you may have. Also, side note, if there is anything in specific or particular that you would like to know about your policy, please put your contact information in the chat and we will reach out to you to discuss your policy in specific. So with that, we've got Troy, we've got Jordan, we've got another abundance of team members that are behind the scenes helping out with your process. So first one is we have Bernard Daibo. He is a member of the Comanche Nation. He's worked with AMERIND for 8 months and has a bachelor's degree in psychology with a minor in philosophy. You may have received some correspondence from Bernard when you send in your requests and endorsement follow-up. So this is another individual that is behind the scenes helping us work through this process. Miss Belinda Vargas, she is the newest addition to our team. She just joined us fresh here in the month of August. She's come along very nicely, so you may receive some email correspondence from her as well. She is a graduate of magna cum laude from Adams State University with a business degree in business administration. So that is our tech team that pretty much handles all of your requests behind the scenes. You may not deal with them directly, but may receive email correspondence from them. I just think it's important to put a face to the name. So when you receive these emails from these individuals, you know who you are speaking and working with. Now, on our other side of the underwriting team, we do have on our tribal governments and businesses, the commercial lines. And with that, give me a few minutes, we have Miss Anita Hansen. Anita Hansen comes to us from a variety of workers' commercial experience. Her background is in the commercial space, casualty, property, and auto. She's been with AMERIND for 9 years, but she has an abundance of insurance knowledge, which lasts about 30 plus years in the industry. So we welcome her. She underwrites primarily our tribal governments and businesses policies. Angel Lewis as well. She joined our team in April of this year, brings a vast variety of commercial experience as well with the casualty, property, and auto lines of businesses. Been in the insurance industry 30 plus years. David Nye, who also brings tribally insurance knowledge to our team, vast amount of commercial experience within the space. And these three pretty much handle the tribal governments and businesses side of the underwriting team. Along with these two, we have Andrew Shipman and Gary Willer. These gentlemen underwrite your workers' comp policies with us. So you may have received correspondence from Andrew and Gary throughout the process. If anything, feel free to reach out to these two if you have questions on your workers' comp policies. Andrew also does assist on the commercial lines of things as well. So he's kind of a hybrid between the commercial and workers' comp. But for the most part, Gary and Andrew are your go-to guys for your workers' comp policies. Now, if you're sitting there asking yourself, do I have workers' comp coverage with AMERIND? And if you find out my workers' comp coverage is not with AMERIND, how can I get a policy with AMERIND? By all means, reach out to us. We can definitely provide some options for your workers' comp coverage and hopefully save you some premium on the other side of things as opposed to what you currently have today with your insurance coverage. So this team right here of underwriters handles commercial workers' comp, brings a level of expertise to the team as well. And of course, working with Mr. Jordan and Troy throughout the renewal processes this year. As Jordan and Troy work through IHBG, they have been regionally assigned to the various regions with the quoting process. So Jordan Naranjo, if you have questions for him and he may not be available, Troy can pretty much step in, come in and help assist with the requests or questions you may have and vice versa. So we feel with Jordan and Troy on board, the service provided to the members will be at your fingertips. So any questions, concerns, please do not hesitate to reach out to either of these two gentlemen. But for the most part, these are the regionals that they will be working with throughout this process. Now, as we transition from the renewal piece of things and the certain individuals on the team that will be handling the various processes, I'd like to bring up one item that is part of your policy, and that is co-insurance. What does co-insurance mean? For the most part, the co-insurance provision ensures that property values are insured at a minimum percentage in order to receive full coverage for your covered claims. What does this mean? From that, your total insured value should be equal to or equal to 90% of the estimated replacement cost of the building dwelling. So if we're looking from a numbers aspect, which we do a lot here on the underwriting team, what we will be looking for is your minimum value that you carry on your policy 90% or above of the estimated replacement costs. When we're talking about values, we're talking about the limits that are on each building, on each dwelling, the total insured value, the policy limit that you see on your schedule. So let's walk through some of the math to help clarify this topic. Utilizing the numbers that we have an actual rebuilding cost of $415,000. So if we know that actual rebuilding cost is $415,000, we would need to calculate 90% of that number. So if you have a claim that occurred on a building today, and you find out, okay, it's going to cost me $415,000 to rebuild this structure from the ground up. What is my minimum threshold that has to be met? Well, I know I have a 90% co-insurance provision that's on this policy, so I know my limit has to be 90% of that total replacement building cost. So let's do the math. You came in, it's $415,000 to rebuild. You multiply that number by 90%, comes up with a value of $369,000. That is the minimum limit that should have been carried on your policy from a dwelling limit perspective. So as you work through your schedule and your inventory, you're going to find that building on your inventory and look to see what is the coverage limit that I have on this policy. As you find that structure, you come to find out, well, my building value that I have on the policy is $350,000. Okay, so what you should be asking, did I meet the minimum requirement? So if you're comparing the 90% to the policy limit you have currently for that building, does that $350,000 meet the 90% amount of $369,000? The answer is it does not. Your policy limit of $350,000 is less than the 90% minimum requirement of $369,000. How does this affect my claim? I have a claim on this building and I need to know what my claim payout will be. Looking at the right side of the screen, you'll see your claim loss. Total estimate to repair the structure was $65,000. When we checked to see if we met the minimum requirement of 90%, we found out that our policy limit of $350,000 is less than the 90% minimum requirement. So how we calculate the two numbers is you will take your policy limit of $350,000 divided by $369,000, which is your 90% threshold, and that produces a percentage of 95%. So utilizing that percentage, you are going to apply that 95% to your claim amount. So using the claim estimated amount of $65,000, multiplying that by your 95%, it comes up with a total loss payment of $61,750. Now, the reason why your claim payment is short as opposed to the $65,000 amount is because your policy limit that we currently had insured was less than the 90% minimum threshold. Now, we would always recommend that you insure your properties to full value, which in this scenario, this example, the full value on this structure should have been insured at $415,000. Now, we understand with inflation of costs fluctuating up and down, the market kind of making prices not at a stable amount that they should have been. That replacement rebuilding number can go up or down depending on where you are at within the United States. So as opposed to having your structures underinsured, we are just recommending that you are at least within that 90% of your total rebuild costs. Yes, you should be at the full value of 415, but let's say when you're renewing your policy, I figured that my rebuilding costs at today's cost is $369,000. If I reported this claim 6 months later, with the way that inflation is occurring, now it's $415,000 to rebuild my home. I don't have control over inflation. You don't have control, but we just want to do our best to try to get a good gauge of what it would be to rebuild your structure from the ground up. Now, as housing professionals as yourselves, you will definitely have a good idea of what your costs are to rebuild in your communities. Are we rebuilding at 250 costs per square foot, 300 in some areas, 150? So we definitely rely on your expertise in the housing as a housing professional to provide us with this information. The more accurate information that we receive, the more better of a value that you will obtain, and hopefully get you closer to a premium that should be adequate for these structures. So the reason for the co-insurance provision is to help encourage to look at our values, making sure that we are adequately looking at the dwelling limits that we have on your schedule. Very, very important. And we just want to emphasize the importance of some of these values as we're reviewing them and really relying on your expertise as housing personnel advising us of what these values should be. So with that, we are going to move on to Mr. Jordan Naranjo, and he is going to share some information with you about what to look out for on your renewal quotes. Mr. Jordan?
Thank you, Shannon. So on your 2025 renewal quotes, what you need to look out for is when you receive your quote, you're going to receive your quote in a PDF. You're also going to receive an Excel worksheet that will have your property, liability, and equipment schedule. So when you receive those, please make sure you are verifying the information on there. If you do have any questions regarding that Excel spreadsheet, feel free to reach out to us and we will be able to get any questions or help you read that Excel spreadsheet. And then also, if you do happen to have changes on your Excel spreadsheet that you need to make, you still will be able to submit those to us. And so please make sure that we do have your contacts updated as well, so that when you do submit those, we'll be able to get those taken care of for you. Another item we need you all to review are your deductibles. We currently have all IHBG members on per building. You're probably wondering what this means, the per building. So an example, if you have $1,000 deductible and you have 10 dwellings on your policy, if there was a tornado that were to come and wipe out 5 of your dwellings and it's a total loss for all 5, it would be $1,000 per total loss. $1,000 per total loss to get those repaired. So please make sure you all are reviewing those. On your schedule of property, please review your dwelling limits, which is your total insured values. We need to make sure, as you're aware of the increased cost of construction due to inflation, that what your property or your dwellings may have been 3 or 4 years ago to rebuild those, the construction cost is not going to be the same. There's going to be an inflation, so we want to make sure that we have your total insured value on your property to where it needs to be. We do have a 5% inflation factor for frame structures. Please verify your square footage, make sure that that is accurate, and that's going to be your exterior square footage of the dwelling. And also look to make sure we have the correct number of properties and addresses listed on your Excel worksheet or your PDF quote. In this next slide, in the corner, you will see we have an example of how your PDF, the quote will look in PDF. If you need to search an address, just use Control F and type in your address. You can also search it by location number, building number, project number, unit number. Once you hit Control F, you will see all your single family dwellings in the top under single family dwellings. Your duplex, triplex, quadplex, those will all be listed under your multiple family dwellings. And then all your apartments, your tribal offices, those will all be under your commercial property. Make sure that we do have the correct number of properties listed, and please verify your addresses. The addresses are a very big part of trying to locate your dwelling. I know some of you may have the 9/11 address updates, and if you do have those, please submit those changes online at AMERIND.com so we could get those those changes added to your schedule. For example, if you submit a claim, you happen to give them your address and you have the updated address, but we don't. If they can't find that unit or that address based off of what you provided, then they're going to end up transferring you over to us underwriters. And then we're going to have to get that information, get the updated address for you, and then we'll be able to send you back over to claims. That's the only way they're going to be able to get your claim submitted. So please make sure that those addresses are updated. We also need you guys to please verify your year bill and your square footage. Square footage, if you say, for example, you have a dwelling that you added a garage to it. If that garage that patio garage is attached to your dwelling, you want to make sure that we have that updated square footage. That's also another important factor in determining if you do happen to have a claim, what's going to be covered. Please verify the coverage TIV limits, your total insured values on all dwellings and buildings. We want to make sure you are carrying adequate limits, because like I said before, if we don't have your building insured to value, we're only going to pay if say, for example, you have $200,000 on a dwelling, and that you have a total loss for that dwelling. And when it comes back to repair that, the repair cost for a new dwelling comes up at $300,000. Unfortunately, we're only going to cover the $200,000. So please make sure that you are insured to value on these limits.
Thank you, Mr. Jordan. Now, as we transition over, Troy is going to go over our new exciting feature of our online forms for additions and deletions.
Thanks, Shannon and Jordan. As Jordan had mentioned, it is very important to review your schedules of property. That way we are quoting you all properly. And the way you can make these changes is that's where the forms come in. As Shannon had mentioned, this is a new feature to where we have all of our forms available online, and we will, at the end of the webinar, we will include the links that will take you directly to the page to get to the forms. That way you're not having to search and look around on the website. We will include those at the end of the webinar. So the three forms that we do have are the addition forms, deletion forms, and the change forms. Addition forms, there are two separate addition forms. One is for the 1 through 4 family structures, and those will include your single family dwellings, your duplexes, triplexes, and quadplexes. And we have the commercial structure addition forms, which, for example, those are like your warehouses, your tribal offices, community buildings, any structure that's uninhabitable. Excuse me. Um, and the deletion forms, they do apply to both the family structures and the commercial buildings. So you don't have to worry about having to try to figure out which, if one of the form applies to either or, they apply to both of them. As well as the change structure forms, they do apply to both of them as well. And we do encourage our members to use the online, mainly because it's very simple, not for us, but also for you. Um, and by simple, I mean that all the forms are fillable right on the website. You don't have to worry about having to download, print, fill them out by hand, or have to fax them, email back to us. Everything is fillable here on the website. So once you fill it out and hit submit, it'll come directly to our team, and we will get those queued up for processing. And as far as like I said, since we encourage this, another reason why we encourage it is because on the forms they do have required fields that help us to gather more information, especially with the additions. The more information we have on any of the dwellings or the commercial buildings, the more we'll be able to provide you with adequate coverage limits. As an example, as Jordan said, if we underinsure a building, that's what you're going to be covered for, rather than what it should actually be covered for. So it's important that we get all the information we can about the buildings. And like I said, since the fields are required, it may be a little overwhelming just because you may not have all the information, but that is the good thing about this online submission, is that all the required fields, they do have drop-down options. So you don't have to worry about trying to figure out, what's the roof material, what's the exterior siding. All you have to do is just click in the line item, and it'll have a drop-down of the options that we have. And all you have to do is just click one of those, and it'll add it for you. And also too, when you do fill these out, like I said, they are required line items. So we just make sure that they are all filled, or else your forms won't be submitted to us properly. I believe if you skip a line item, there will be a warning sign saying you missed a line item. Please fill out this section. That way you can get your form completely submitted to us. And just to keep in mind, when you are making or sending additions, we will process them the day that we receive the request. So we just encourage that if you have any additions, please get those submitted to us as soon as you are made aware of any of these changes. And like I said, that goes for the additions as well as the updates. And with the updates, we mentioned, with the addresses, that's really a big one. I know especially when it comes to claims, we want to make sure that we have the correct buildings, and we just want to make sure that, we're not, you as our members and customers, your claims get processed right away and correctly. So we just ask that, you have your addresses updated and sent to us as soon as possible, or as soon as you're made aware. But other than that, I think that is all I have for now as far as these. But if you have any questions throughout this process, feel free to reach out to me or Jordan or the rest of the team. And that's pretty much it from my end. So I'll go ahead and send it back to Jordan. He will go ahead and explain the timeline. Thank you.
Thank you, Troy. So for your 2025 renewal timeline, we're in the month of August. This is the time for members to submit any adds or deletes. So Please make sure that you are reviewing your address, your square footage, your total insured, the TIVs. If there are any updates, please have those submitted online at AMERIND.com. Or if you do have the Excel and you do happen to make changes on that Excel worksheet, just highlight your changes and reach out to us so we could have a good explanation onto what changes you are making. We also would like you to please take a look at your authorized contacts. We need to make sure that these are updated. So say, for example, if you have any new employees or anyone you want making changes on your policy, they need to be on the authorized contacts. If we do not have them on the authorized contacts, we would not make the change, and you more likely will be hearing from us with a phone call or email, just so we could confirm that we can go ahead and proceed with these changes. On August 30th, this will be the last call to submit changes to be included on your 2025 quote. Any updates that you have, please submit them online. I don't want you all to freak out. We will still make these changes. That is just a date that we have that we're going by. But say, for example, you have not received your quote yet, we will make those changes. If you have submitted changes, we'll get those added, and then we'll send you over your quote. And then for the month of September, that's kind of like a quiet time for us. We'll be using this month to get these quotes, any changes completed and sent out to you. On October 1st, there's going to be your renewal quote proposals. They will be sent to your office by email to the contact persons on file. Any quote revisions, changes requested, received after 9/1 will be completed and provided after October 1st. So say you do receive your quote and you submitted changes, we will get all those changes sent to you after October 1st. We want to make sure that we're getting all these quotes out, and then we'll get any changes you do have. Please be advised that we will make any changes, even so, like once you receive your quote and you're like, oh, I have a lot of changes, I need to get these taken care of. Even though you received your quote, we will still get those changes taken care of for you, and then we'll send you a revised quote. Once all that has been sent over to you and you get your revised quote, or your quote just looks good and you're ready to bind with us, in the next slide, when we get there, I'll show you an example of what to look for and where to sign. But sign the authorization form. There's going to be 2 sheets that you sign. Submit those over to us, and once you submit that over to us, we will get you your invoice sent out to you. On November 15th, all signed authorization forms are due. Another example, if you happen to still not, you may have forgotten to send over the signed authorization form, we will still send you over your invoice. Excuse me. And then on December 31st, all payments are due in full to avoid a lapse in coverage and to remain in good standings. We have some exciting news to share with you. I know a lot of you are used to writing checks or calling in to make your payments. We actually have a customer payment portal online at AMERIND.com, to where now you guys have the opportunity to go online. As long as you have your policy number, you can go ahead and submit your payments online. And that is something new. We're excited for it. So please utilize it. If you have questions on how to use it, just reach out to us and we'll be able to walk you through that process. On this next slide, as I stated earlier, that I will go over how the authorization forms. There are 2 forms that we do need signed and dated. This would be your property statement of value forms, and then your authorization form. Please have these signed and dated, sent over, faxed, emailed, however, just have them sent over to us so that you can receive your email. And yeah, but thank you for taking the time to listen to us today. If you do have any questions or concerns, or just go ahead and throw them in the chat and we'll be able to get those answered for you. Once again, my name is Jordan Naranjo, and I look forward to working with all of you, and I am very excited for this. So thank you.
Thank you, gentlemen, for sharing that information with us. And I just wanted to do a recap summary of what we discussed today. First, you met our newest members of our underwriting team, and especially most important, Troy and Jordan, who will be walking you through this quoting process. And of course, other team members behind the team as well. Insurance, co-insurance information. And I think the biggest part of that piece is we definitely want to make sure that we are paying you whole on your claims. So just ensuring that you have adequate dwelling limits on your buildings. If we have the adequate dwelling limits and you know you can rebuild at the limits that are on your policy, you should have no worries about being paid out 100% on your claims. Your 2025 renewal quote, Jordan provided some tips of what to look out for, what to update, important pieces of information on your schedule. So as he mentioned, if you do, the 8/30 day is a soft date for us as far as receiving changes. We like to get those in advance so that we can have them prepared in your quote. However, if you do submit changes to us and you have not received your quote, like Jordan mentioned, those changes will be included as part of your quote. If, say, you get your quote and you still want to make changes, or there's some adds or deletes, whatever it may be, building deductible changes, let us know. We will consider those changes and apply them. Your quote revision will be received after October 1st, once we have completed all quotes for all IHBG members. Schedule of property, review the importance of that and reviewing the addresses as well, just making sure that we have those current as best as possible. And of course, as Troy presented, the new feature for our online additions and deletions. So one thing that I did want to mention is if you have multiple additions or deletions, changes that you may need, and multiple meaning 10 or more, get in contact with us, because we do have a solution to where you can make these additions on an Excel spreadsheet format. It's a little bit easier if you have that large number of changes, because as opposed to filling out an individual form for all 10 structures, we can help expedite that process utilizing Excel. So if you have multiple additions, changes, deletions, 10 buildings or more, please reach out to us and we'll be sure to get to you an Excel spreadsheet where you can make those changes to make it a little bit easier in that process. Another thing with that is the address changes. We are aware that several tribal communities are going through 911 address updates. So as if your community experiences that and it affects the properties that are on your inventory, please get in contact with us, because we definitely want to utilize the Excel option to get all of your addresses updated. And last but not least, the renewal timeline. So we just want to emphasize the importance of sending that signed authorization form in. That form will pretty much, as soon as you send that form in to us, we will be able to get your invoice released out to you to make sure that you are sending your payment on time and remaining in compliance with the payment. Now, we did have a question stemming from Jordan's presentation on the deductibles, and Jordan mentioned a per building deductible. And the question that we received is the per building deductible is each building will have a deductible, not per claim. So that is correct. Example, if you have a tornado that went through your area and damaged 20 homes, the tornado is considered one occurrence event. And that one occurrence caused damage to 20 of your buildings. That per building deductible, if you have $1,000 on your policy as a policy deductible, you're going to have a deductible charge for each building that got damaged as a result of that tornado. So building 1 will have a deductible, building 2, building 3, all the way down to the 20 structures that were damaged by that tornado. It's a little bit different as opposed to a per occurrence deductible, where you're just getting charged the one deductible for the entire tornado occurrence. So just to clarify, yes, the per building deductible means that if you have a big storm occurrence, you will have a deductible for each property that was damaged by that storm. So again, if you have any questions in specific into your policies, you want to set some time aside with us to go over what you have, please feel free to put your contact information in the chat, and we will be sure to reach out to you and set some time up with you. And last but not least, I hope you got your cowgirl shoes shined up and ready to roll. And please, we invite you to join us at our AMERIND Tribal Risk and Insurance convening November 6th and 7th at good old Nashville, Tennessee. So if you have an opportunity, take a look at our information. All of the registration information can be found on AMERIND.com. Registration is complimentary to you, our IHBG members. So please take advantage of it, and we hope to see you in Nashville.
Thank you so much, Shannon. That was incredibly informative and very helpful. I think we've got all the questions that were in the chat, but I want to give folks an opportunity. If you have additional questions, go ahead and put them in the chat. Shannon, one of the things that I got from this was that it's critically important if you have address changes or any kind of building changes, what are the consequences if you don't make the changes right now?
So if you don't make any changes to your policy will be renewed based on the information that we currently have with regards to number of buildings and the current details that are attached to those buildings. Also, the limits that you may have liability limits as part of your policy. Crime, everybody's policy details vary within each organization, but if we don't get any updates received, pretty much the policy will be renewed as it is at expiring.
Great. And Marie, thank you for putting your information. We will absolutely have someone give you a call back today.
Yes.
So anything else, Shannon, that you think is really important that you want to emphasize in terms of these changes? And particularly, it's pretty exciting. We're online. You get to go online and make some changes online.
Yes, absolutely. I know that has been an ask for quite some time. So we're very thrilled to have that online accessibility. No need to download forms, print, or scan. You can pretty much go online, make the changes. The emails come directly to the commercial team. And we are also working on a feature to where you will also get copied in these emails, because as we understand, record keeping, documentation, we're all on the same page. So we're working on a feature to where when you submit these requests online, you will get a copy of these requests also sent to your email. So just some exciting things we have. Also the online payment portal that is available as well for payments when you do get your invoice. So with Troy and Jordan working through this process, please don't hesitate to reach out. We definitely rely on your expertise, being an expertise in the housing personnel side of things, knowing what properties you have. You are our eyes and ears out there. So we definitely value your partnership with working together to making sure that we have accurate data on your policies and we're getting information reported as accurately as possible.
Absolutely. Well, if you put your contact information in the chat, we will absolutely follow up with you. And I just want to thank Shannon, Jordan, and Troy for sharing this valuable information today. As I mentioned in the chat, I will be sending an email to you later today with the slides to this, as well as links to those forms and other things. Thank you so much for attending today, and we wish everyone a great holiday weekend, and have a good one.
Thank you, everybody. Take care. Hopefully we will see you in Nashville. And like Monica said, appreciate your time, taking time. We know your schedules are busy, taking care of our tribal communities and ensuring housing for them. So just greatly appreciate everybody joining.
Thank you, everyone. And I look forward to working with all of you guys. So, and if you guys have any questions, concerns, please feel free to reach out to us and we'll be able to make sure we get those questions answered for you. Thank you once again for taking your time out of your day to listen to us, and have a good day.
Yes, just like thank you everyone for tuning in, and like Jordan said, we are looking forward to working with you, and we are excited to get this renewal process going. So get us in those changes and we can get rolling. And hope you guys all have a good holiday, and we will wait to hear from you. Thank you.
All right. Thanks.